I had 3 victims that I've been working with, victims of the Carters, that were ready to come forward. This might help them feel a little more confident now. So this is great. Everything you see about him is an illusion. But what he loves the most is controlling youth.
Fact check me. And Jaguar has more information than I do. So to anybody who discredits her is really doesn't know what's going on, because she has more information than I could even dream of having, because I'm sure, without even speaking to her about this.
For 15 long years, the world's been hypnotized by the same story. Rihanna, the sweet, innocent girl who got hurt. Jay-Z, the powerful mentor who protected her. And Chris Brown, the monster who ruined it all. But what if that story was flipped completely upside down? What if the one you thought was the victim was actually the mastermind, and the real victim was buried in silence? Jaguar Wright just blew the lid off everything, and what she's saying will shake this entire industry to the core. She claims the truth was twisted from the start, that the story we were spoon-fed was built to protect power, not people. Because sometimes the loudest victim is really the one hiding the darkest secret. And Jaguar says she's got the proof that Rihanna wasn't just involved, she was complicit. Let's rewind, not to the glamorized Barbados princess makes it big tale we've all seen on magazine covers. No, imagine this instead. A 16-year-old girl, fresh from the islands, flown thousands of miles away with no family, sitting in a cold Manhattan skyscraper at 3 a.m., no chaperone, no protection, just a scared teen and a powerful man with too much control, a man who'd soon dictate everything from her look to her love life. Listen closely to Rihanna's own words, the way she innocently describes that night without realizing what she's really admitting.
So tell me about your audition with Jay-Z. Tell me what he said to you.
A really good audition.
Yes.
But before I met him, I was so nervous. I was shaking literally. But the moment I walked into the office, the atmosphere was so warm and welcoming.
And you had to sing a cappella for him?
Yes, I had to sing. I sang Pun the Replay. I sang another ballad from the album last time.
Here. So then what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
But then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, he did it homework.
I did a lot of homework on you, Miss Lady.
He said, there are 2 ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
So you was like, where's the pen? Where's the paper? I'm signing.
Yeah.
She calls it an audition, but the details paint a darker picture. She talks about how intimidating it was, how alone she felt, and how she was kept there until she finally gave in and signed the papers. That's not a simple career move. That's control disguised as opportunity. Now fast forward to Jay-Z years later, practically bragging about it.
Signed it that night. We didn't let her leave the office.
Really?
The 3 a.m. was when that contract got signed. So from the meeting around 3, 4 in the afternoon, we signed it by 3 a.m. Wow. That day, I was absolutely certain.
How often does that happen? I mean, that's
not often.
That's unheard of, right?
That's not, yeah. I mean, to get lawyers to draft up contracts and then the other side to agree to contracts in 10 hours that's retarded.
No.
He said, we didn't let her leave without signing. Let that sink in. A grown man proudly admitting he wouldn't let a 16-year-old girl walk out of his office until she gave up her freedom and her future. That's not business. That's coercion. And if you think that's an exaggeration, look at what came next.
Get discovered. This is an unusual story.
Well, first, I met a producer in Barbados who was vacationing there because his wife is from there. So he was vacationing there one time, and my friend who knows him, she wanted me to meet with him. So in a nutshell, I went to his hotel room, I sang for him, and he was impressed. So he invited me out to his studio to do some recording, and we recorded for like a year back and forth. Then we finally put a demo together. We sent it to a few labels, and Def Jam happened to be the first label to call back. They were the most enthusiastic about everything. So we set up a meeting with Jay-Z, and I met with him, and he was very impressed by the audition. And he didn't let me leave until 3 in the morning after we signed the deal.
Well, were you nervous meeting Jay?
What? I was literally shaking in the lobby. It was the longest 12 hours of my life. Like, I was just waiting downstairs, and I was like, get the contract down here. I want to sign. I was so hyped. I didn't sleep for the next 3 days.
Rihanna couldn't sleep for 3 days after signing that contract. 3 whole days. Who loses sleep over a dream opportunity? Nobody. That's not excitement, that's trauma. Her body was screaming what her mind tried to bury. Jaguar Wright takes this story even deeper, straight into the dark side of fame.
She was a kid at that time, correct?
15-year-old girl who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building. Everybody knew when she flew in. I was there the day she got signed. Everyone was talking about it. And the 6 hours that she spent with him, and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up to the next day to come and collect the check.
Well, and
this is her life.
The rumors were even beyond that, right? That Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce with her when she was 17 is what a lot of this came out through a publicist who later then
had
to
spoken
apologize.
To my friend Jonathan? Hey, you should talk to Jonathan.
She claims Rihanna wasn't 16 when this manipulation started. She was just 15, a young girl, barely a teenager, left completely alone inside a towering corporate building with a man who, according to Jaguar, had been preparing that so-called meeting for hours. 4 long hours, just her and him, while the whole industry turned a blind eye like nothing was happening. And it didn't stop there.
And then the next thing you know, she was removed from that first team from Pond the Replay and replaced with all new handlers and kept sheltered in Los Angeles, where she was going out to parties and partying at 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room, hanging out. Yeah, like it was one of my friends who found out she was 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And he was like, yo, why do y'all got me carrying this girl around? And she's, it's cool.
Well, but just to echo and support you, like they had to debunk that. Oh, we apologize. It wasn't real. We made it up in hopes of giving her single a boost.
Yeah, they
like,
promised
what?
Jonathan a deal working at Tidal and something, and then they reneged. And then the next thing you know, he was caught in a home invasion robbery while he was working on the Drake secret baby mama story,
Jeez.
Sophie. He was duct taped him and his daughter, and he was pow whipped in front of his child. So, there's a lot that goes on in the backdrop.
Jaguar says the contract was only the first step in her conditioning. Right after signing, Rihanna was thrown headfirst into the wild world of adult parties, VIP rooms, champagne nights, and celebrity scenes she had no business being in at that age. Surrounded by people twice her age who should have been protecting her, but instead, they stood by, pretending it was all part of the game. Then comes the bone-chilling part. Jaguar insists that anyone in the business who dared to question what was going on, anyone who spoke up and said, wait, she's just a kid, was quietly pushed out, erased from the scene like they never existed. Careers vanished overnight, voices silenced, stories buried. Even when Rihanna finally hit that Grammy stage, the moment that should have been her shining victory, Jay-Z made sure to step in. Watch that clip closely. Does it look like a mentor cheering her on, or a man making sure his asset stays under control?
Dad, I know I promised you I'm gonna give you my first Grammy, but we might have to fight for this one.
She said she wanted to thank everybody for her first Grammy.
Anyway, I'd like to thank Jay-Z for being a part of this record with me.
She liked to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world.
Ellen Reed, Steve Bartles, Tata, Jay Brown, Karen Kwok for finding this amazing record. Tricky, Dream for writing such a beautiful record. Thank you, I love you guys. Mom, Dad, my 2 brothers, Rory and Rajad. Please wrap up, okay? Barbados, I love you. We got one. Evan Rogers, Carl Sturken, Mark Jordan, Krista, and making sure I don't forget anybody. Thank you so much. This means a lot.
This isn't a fairy tale about a young star being discovered. No, this is a record of systematic predatory behavior dressed up as business deals and record contracts. And here's where it gets truly disturbing.
He's been evading, but the thing is, everyone in the backdrop knew that he was the celebrity John Doe. Everybody knew that. They knew it when I did Pierce Morgan.
Is Beyonce Celebrity B?
I hope to God not. But she was around. And she's very... She's got enough on her plate. After everything that happened with the election and everything that's happening right now, I'm not going to dump on that woman. She got better fish to fry.
Well,
what I
look.
will say is that her husband, she knows exactly who he is.
Jaguar Wright claims Rihanna didn't just survive that system. She learned it. She allegedly picked up those same twisted tactics and later used them to tear down anyone who dared to expose what was really happening behind those studio doors. But before we get there, you need to see the bigger picture.
He was after Beyonce when she was before 18, correct? I mean, as we go through the timeline, they claim, oh no, I met him at 18 and then we waited till I was 19, but they knew each other when she was like 15, 16, correct? You clearly had eyes, and it's not the only one, right? There's Aaliyah as well. I was looking at these photos. There's a history
but Aaliyah,
of this, right?
definitely. A lot of people don't realize the timeline, but after everything went bad with Robert Kelly and he had to divorce Aaliyah, Jay-Z was interested while she was still underage. And as she started spending more time in New York, he was very, very, very right there. She didn't want that. She didn't want that with him. And if there's one thing I can tell you about Sean Carter, being embarrassed and being rejected are things he does not handle well. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you're crazy. He didn't do anything to Big L.
Rihanna wasn't the only one, not even close. According to Jaguar, she was just one piece of a pattern that's been repeating for decades. A long, ugly cycle of manipulation and control. And the person who supposedly knows it best? The woman sleeping next to Jay-Z every single night. Jaguar drops this bombshell with ice in her voice. Beyonce knows. She's known the truth for years. She's seen everything. Jaguar says Beyonce watched this behavior unfold again and again in plain sight and still chose silence. And not because she's scared, but because she's protecting an empire bigger than any conscience could handle. An empire built on secrets, silence, and the pain of the people crushed along the way. Just think about that. The same woman praised as a voice for female empowerment, the one who sings about independence and strength, may have been standing right next to the very darkness she claims to fight.
That Jay-Z used to have transgender women on there. On the tour bus, he knows that. He knows that Jay-Z used to prefer transgender women. So I don't know why. I wish Dame Dash would come out and, you know, say everything, but maybe in his own way, he's trying to, you know, protect the hip hop culture and knows how many people could be crushed if he came out and really spoke about Jay-Z's secrets. They set out to do that, you know?
Did you personally see Jay-Z with transgender women? You personally?
I have, correct.
Can you speak on like maybe in what aspect? Is it music video or outside of music videos?
It was during the tour. It was during the tour with the Mill, DMX, Jay-Z.
The Hard Knock Life.
No.
Or maybe a different one.
Yeah, they had the documentary for it. What was that called? I'll think of it. I'll think of it here in a little bit.
Yeah, it was a documentary, backstage or the
backstage with the Mill and all that. I used to work with her, and I definitely. It was unmistakable. You know, in 2024, the trans women are, you know, it can be hard, you know, like a lot of people that, you know, they don't know, but back then it wasn't as advanced and you could clearly tell, you know, that was a guy.
Jaguar Wright finally lays it all bare. The entire disturbing pattern. She claims Jay-Z didn't just discover Rihanna, he targeted her, just like he allegedly targeted others before her. According to Jaguar, this behavior started long before Rihanna ever entered the picture. Jay-Z supposedly went after Beyonce when she was still underage, and even before that, he pursued Aaliyah when she was just a teenager. 3 different girls. Same exact setup. Same chilling pattern repeating over and over again. But here's where it gets downright haunting. Aaliyah was different. She saw through it and refused to play along. She rejected him, and Jaguar says Jay-Z doesn't handle rejection well at all. Remember that, because it's crucial later when we talk about what happens to anyone who dares to say no to him or steps outside his control.
Speaking of PTSD, you made a comment about this. Like, this was from the Super Bowl appearance more recently. This bothered you, seeing her put the Rockefellers logo out there.
If you
what
go
was your
back
instinct to that?
and watch, it was almost as if she didn't want to put her hands up, and then she looked over where Jay-Z's box was, and then you just see her hand. She look at her. She's looking at his box. She didn't want to do it. She didn't even want to do that gig. But the hold, especially the financial hold with the companies and all of the money and all of the strings that he pulled to. He treats these women like shell corporations.
Is that why this happened? Do you have any insight on this infamous elevator video where Solange was seen just unloading on him? Beyonce's there as well.
What I will say is, right there, that's the moment when he told her to back up and called her Tito Jackson.
And respect
There was-
and love to Tito Jackson, who we just lost recently.
I know. Tito
legend,
could never
yeah.
get a break, and he's the nicest guy.
But here,
yeah,
Jay-Z
there
trying to
was-
mimic, she's not worthy, she's nobody, is what he's trying to do.
Pretty
And this
much is what he pretty much said to her. But the thing is there was infidelity that was happening that night. Both of them got caught doing things they weren't supposed to do. I believe there might have been some DV that happened. And people who know Mr. Carter knows he doesn't have a problem with putting his hands on his wife. Plenty of people know that to be true. Solange is different.
Allegedly.
Solange is different. She's old school Southern, and she loves her big sister even when her big sister makes mistakes. She stood up for her sister. The most interesting thing about that, though, can we look at that one more time, Andy? They come in and all of this, and then look, it almost looks like he's going to defend himself, but instead he prostrates himself, right? He lets Solange go nuts, and he sits there and acts. He knows that camera's there. He knows where all the cameras are in that place. There's another footage, and I'll get it and I'll send it to you, of him with another woman approaching him aggressively, or it seemed like aggressively, and he slapped the crap out of her. Matter of fact, there's at least 5 different shows over the course of the past 15 years where he has physically attacked women that came into his space that he didn't want anywhere near him. So I find it funny that in all those other instances, he had no problem with putting his hands on a woman to so-called defend himself. But when he's getting killed alive with cameras there, all of a sudden now he's meek and mild. I think that was a setup. I think he did that specifically to handle up on Solange.
Now look at the timeline Jaguar points out. Beyonce at 15, Aaliyah at 16, Rihanna at 15. Does that sound like coincidence? No way. Jaguar calls it a method, a formula, a system designed to find young, talented girls, isolate them, and turn them into assets before they even understand what's happening. She says this isn't random attraction, it's calculated control.
Okay. The person who leaked the security video of Solange attacking Jay-Z was found and then fired. Reportedly, it was a female security guard. And she didn't take the tape from the hotel security system. She recorded it on her cell phone. Well, that was smart, though, because I'd be thinking about just take the tape. So that was smart. The less than smart thing is that it took her 5 days. She shopped it around for 5 days before she got, some dough for it. Finally, it was TMZ who bought the video. Originally, it was reported that whoever sold it for $250,000, but now there's some discrepancy in the amount of money. Some people are saying $50,000, some are saying $100,000, others are saying $250,000. Either way, now she's gonna lose it all because now the Standard's going to sue her. They've hired a high-priced lawyer to go after this security guard girl. And now, she can never be, I guess, a security person again since she's a security breacher. It's terrible.
Jay-Z, armed with power, money, and connections, has allegedly been running the same disturbing playbook for nearly 3 decades. But according to Jaguar Wright, this twisted pattern runs way deeper than anyone ever imagined. She isn't the only one saying it either. industry insider Jonathan Hay dropped a bombshell of his own, exposing Jay-Z's alleged hidden side that insiders have whispered about for years. He claims Jay's behavior behind closed doors was so unsettling that even his own business partner, Dame Dash, couldn't take it anymore. Dame reportedly saw things that disturbed him so much he decided to walk away permanently. This isn't just a story about targeting young women. It's about a man whose alleged private actions were so dark, so out of line, that the people closest to him wanted nothing to do with it. And let's not forget, this is the same man who was locked in that Manhattan office for 4 hours with a 15-year-old Rihanna.
I am strong. This happened to me. I didn't cause this. I didn't do it. This happened to me, and it can happen to anybody. There are a lot of women who've experienced what I did, but not in the public. So it made it really difficult. I just felt like, oh my God, here goes my little bit of privacy, just exposed. Like, it's something that nobody wants anybody to know. So here I am, the whole world knowing.
Why be ashamed?
Because I didn't want people to think that that's the kind of person I fell in love with that person. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing that that's the type of person that I fell in love with. So far in love, so unconditional that I went back.
On average, I think it takes a woman 7 times before she leaves.
8 or 9, actually. And I don't want that to happen. That's not what I want to teach people. But again, people, I'm a human being, and people put me on a very unrealistic pedestal, and all these expectations. I'm not perfect. Also, it's pretty natural for that to be the first reaction. It's completely normal to go back. You start lying to yourself. The minute the physical wounds go away, you want this thing to go away. This is a memory you don't want to have ever again.
The pieces start to connect in a way that's hard to ignore. But what really sends chills down your spine? Beyoncé's silence. Jaguar says Beyoncé didn't just know about the pattern, she profited from it. Every single time Jay-Z supposedly exploited another young girl, their empire grew stronger. Every time he escaped accountability, their brand stayed spotless. And every time the industry turned a blind eye, it secured the Carters' place on the throne.
I couldn't be held responsible for telling them, go back. Even if Chris never hit me again, who's to say that their boyfriend won't? Who's to say that they won't kill these girls? And these are young girls.
Beyoncé, according to Jaguar, had a choice. She could have exposed the truth, or she could protect the empire. And she made her decision. Instead of saving the other girls, she allegedly became his greatest weapon, his most powerful shield, helping cover decades of systemic exploitation. And that choice, Jaguar warns, didn't come without blood on its hands. Because once you enter Jay-Z's system, silence isn't optional, it's enforced.
Don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Yeah, shout out D. Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D. Haven.
Yeah, we need to talk to him.
I told you that last year when I put you on the phone with him.
You did.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it. Think of the power of that moment. Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention my mother name. She mentioned it yesterday. Talking about why people are afraid to come forward. You mean like you? You was Diddy girl. Corey was Jay-Z girl. Why don't you claim your friend? Claudia.
So, Jack, when you say...
When I say Corey, I'm talking about Kathy White.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Jay-Z's pregnant mistress,
yeah,
who died of an imaginary aneurysm. Just like the woman who was best friends with Kim and Kimura, who wrote the book Bling and died as soon as it made the bestsellers list. Who the these people supposed to go to? You can't go to the boss because the boss is you. And the boss's boss don't get no. Can't go to the authorities. They're all bought and paid for.
The conditioning was just the start. What came after was a chilling operation of control, psychological, financial, and emotional, designed to keep every single victim obedient and permanently quiet. Jaguar Wright breaks down one of the most watched performances in history, Rihanna's Super Bowl show. And when you see what she points out, it'll send chills down your spine. She says, watch Rihanna's hands. Right before she flashes Jay-Z's famous Rockefeller sign, she glances toward his VIP box, as if silently asking for permission. Only after that look does she do it. Quick, hesitant, and tense. That's not pride, that's compliance.
People have been hitting me about, how could Jaguar Wright know all these things, right? And how, Jaguar Wright hasn't worked with Jay-Z since, when she did the Unplugged. That's a long time ago. Well, I can tell you just from what I've experienced is the people that have contacted me since I've done like your show and since I've done other shows, people have contacted me, other victims, and have sent me. Obviously, there's been some people that have sent me stuff that, doesn't check out or whatever, but victims have contacted me and they have sent me proof that can never be disputed, photos, everything else, because they don't want to bring their story out, but they like what we're doing. So they're whistleblowing, but they're doing quietly to protect their jobs and to protect their families and to protect, whatever. They're not comfortable speaking out. So if I've got all kinds of information in the last 2 months, just from doing, shows like you guys, I can't imagine all the stuff that Jaguar Wright has got and to her, and the access that she's seen and the people who have came to her. Like, she has such a bigger reach and such a bigger audience than me. It's and mine is getting to the point where it's overwhelming of people reaching out who have suffered from Diddy, from Jay-Z, and from these celebrities.
Jaguar insists this isn't an artist showing love to her mentor. This is a woman under control. She claims Rihanna's every move on that stage was calculated to remind the world who still pulls the strings. And it's not just her.
Allegedly, the song Daughter on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album.
I love that one.
Well, it's potentially a murder confession about Jay-Z's mistress, Kathy White.
What?
Yeah, buckle up. On August 28th, 2011, Beyonce announced her pregnancy at the MTV VMAs.
Iconic.
On January 7th, 2012, Blue Ivy was born into this world. In 2016, Beyonce dropped Lemonade. Now, as we all know, Lemonade was a true album about infidelity. Jay-Z was rumored to have a very long time mistress. It was well known in the industry. People knew of Kathy White because of Jay-Z, okay? Yikes. So here's where it gets a little crazy. Kathy White was known to be pregnant in 2011. Shortly after giving birth, Kathy died mysteriously in her apartment of a brain aneurysm.
I have a feeling this is related.
Okay. Now, even though we saw Beyonce's bump publicly, there's a video of Beyonce sitting down for an interview and her whole stomach just deflates in the video. And it's very weird.
This is crazy.
If you listen to Daughter, the song completely illustrates her confession. The lyrics in the song say, "Your body laid out on these filthy floors, your bloodstains on my custom coutures. Bathroom attendant let me right in. She was a big fan. I tried to stay cool, but your arrogance disturbed my solitude. Now I ripped your dress and you're all black and blue. Look what you made me do." So fans are speculating that Beyonce had Kathy White killed after Kathy White had the baby and claimed the baby as her own, and that baby is Blue Ivy.
Jaguar says Jay-Z keeps a financial leash on both Rihanna and Beyonce. Their businesses, their brands, their every public move. They're not equals in his empire. They're assets. Controlled, monitored, and manipulated to protect his image and his system. But here's where it gets darker. Jaguar says the control doesn't stop with money. It goes all the way into their private lives. According to her sources, both Rihanna and Beyonce have allegedly endured years of systematic mistreatment behind the scenes. And instead of the industry protecting them, it's trained them to protect him. The glamorous smiles, the powerful women image, it's all a facade. Behind the lights, Jaguar claims the two most famous women in music are both suffering in silence, conditioned to cover for the same man. But here's where Jaguar says things get truly sinister. That infamous elevator fight? It wasn't just Solange defending her sister. It was an open rebellion against Jay-Z's entire control system. Solange wasn't just throwing punches. She was fighting for Beyonce's freedom. She was the last real connection Beyonce had to a life outside of Jay-Z's reach. Her sister, her emotional anchor, her reality check. And what happened after that night tells you everything. Solange, who had always been right by Beyonce's side, on stage, at events, in photos, suddenly vanished from the spotlight. She didn't just fade away, she was erased from the public story. The sisters who once shared everything were suddenly distant. Their bond fractured right after that elevator explosion. Jaguar claims this was no coincidence. Jay-Z allegedly engineered Solange's downfall. He used that viral moment to humiliate her publicly, paint her as unstable, and push her out of Beyonce's life completely. By doing that, he cut off Beyonce's final line of emotional defense, the one person who dared to stand up to him. And the whole time, Rihanna was watching. She saw how Jay handled disobedience, how he destroyed those who got in his way, and she learned the rules of survival in his system. But that knowledge came at a cost, because soon those same tactics would be turned on her. Jaguar says what came next was the most disturbing twist yet. The moment Jay-Z allegedly weaponized his entire manipulation network to stage one of the most cold-blooded and calculated acts of public victimhood the world has ever seen. Watch this carefully. This is Rihanna's 2009 ABC News interview with Diane Sawyer, the one that changed everything. The interview that crushed Chris Brown's career and, according to Jaguar Wright, protected Jay-Z's empire. At first glance, it looks like a survivor sharing her story, but look closer. Every single line, every phrase, every emotion seems scripted. Listen to how perfectly she hits every victim talking point. I am strong. This happened to me. I didn't cause this. The words roll off her tongue like a rehearsed performance. Flawless delivery, polished emotion, and just enough vulnerability to pull the world's sympathy. But Jaguar says this wasn't a woman speaking from pain. This was a carefully crafted character, a role designed to destroy one man and shield another. Notice what she's really doing. She's not just framing Chris Brown as her abuser, she's branding him as a danger to all women. She's rewriting his image in real time, turning him from a man into a monster. And the timing? Chillingly perfect. The interview aired right as Chris was beginning his comeback. One televised appearance, and his entire career was obliterated. You think that's coincidence? Jaguar calls it surgical precision. A strategic takedown executed with perfect timing. But here's the part that freezes your blood. Everything Jaguar revealed before suddenly clicks. The isolated 15-year-old in that Manhattan office. The audition that turned into a forced contract. The years of manipulation, control, and silence. And now, this flawless victim performance. Ask yourself, who taught Rihanna how to deliver those lines? Who trained her on how to play the perfect victim while simultaneously destroying the one person who, Jaguar claims, uncovered the truth about what really goes on behind closed doors? This wasn't random emotion. This was direction. This was a production crafted to shift all focus onto Chris Brown. While Jay-Z, the real puppet master according to Jaguar, stood untouched, his empire expanding while the world wept for the woman he allegedly created. And it worked perfectly. While everyone was busy demonizing Chris Brown, Jay-Z continued his operations right out in the open, shielded by the most convincing victim the industry had ever seen. Jaguar calls this not just a scandal but a pattern, a strategy of destruction used for decades to eliminate threats and silence the truth. Rihanna's interview wasn't just a confession, it was the latest chapter in Jay-Z's system of control. A system so powerful, it turned pain into profit and victims into weapons. Here's the truth nobody in the industry wants to face. Jaguar Wright says Jay-Z has been systematically eliminating anyone who poses a threat to his empire for over 20 years. This isn't just gossip. It's a chilling pattern that's played out over and over again. Take The Haven, for example. He allegedly knew too much about Jay-Z's early illegal dealings. Gone. Then there's Dame Dash, his own business partner, who reportedly witnessed behavior so disturbing he had to walk away. And the industry made sure his reputation never recovered. Aaliyah? She allegedly rejected Jay-Z's advances, and soon after, she was gone in that tragic plane crash that still doesn't sit right with so many fans. Kathy White, rumored to be pregnant with Jay-Z's child, suddenly died of a mysterious aneurysm. Same pattern, different names. Jaguar lays it out step by step. Isolate the target, destroy their credibility, and finally eliminate them while keeping everything wrapped in coincidence. It's always the same formula, and it's terrifyingly efficient. And Chris Brown, he wasn't the first. He was just the most public. His destruction wasn't random, it was strategic. The timing, the coverage, the fallout, all of it perfectly aligned to bury him for good. But don't just take Jaguar's word for it, industry professionals have backed it up too. Rihanna's own publicist, Jonathan Hay, has confirmed key parts of Jaguar's claims. He was there, inside the circle, watching it unfold in real time. This isn't just wild theory, this is first-hand testimony from someone who worked directly with Rihanna and saw the manipulation with his own eyes. When a professional like that steps forward and his words line up with Jaguar's, you can't just brush it off. Kathy White's story wasn't just tragic, it was terrifying. According to Jaguar Wright, she wasn't eliminated simply to protect Jay-Z. Beyoncé was allegedly involved. The woman rumored to be pregnant with Jay-Z's child became a target, not because she was a threat to his image, but because she was a threat to their empire. This isn't just about shielding a powerful man anymore. It's about two women allegedly working together to protect a billion-dollar legacy built on silence, fear, and control. And that's where Rihanna's transformation becomes complete. The final chilling twist in Jaguar's entire revelation. She says Rihanna evolved from victim to accomplice to weapon. The same system that once broke her was the one she learned to master. She became so fluent in Jay-Z's tactics of control and manipulation that she eventually turned into his most effective tool, the one who destroys threats before they can even speak. The innocent 16-year-old girl who once sat terrified in that Manhattan skyscraper became the calculated woman capable of protecting the very machine that built her pain. And Jaguar claims that's the true horror of all this. How a system can turn victims into enforcers, teaching them to destroy others so they never have to face their own truth. Jay-Z didn't just use Rihanna, he programmed her. He molded her into the perfect scapegoat machine, trained to perform, to mislead, to protect him at all costs. From frightened teenager to the orchestrated downfall of Chris Brown, Jaguar says Rihanna's entire journey shows the ultimate success of psychological control, when the victim becomes the weapon. So ask yourself, when these celebrities stand in front of cameras claiming to be advocates for victims, are you witnessing activism or the most powerful form of complicity the industry has ever created? When alleged victims defend their accused abusers in public, is that loyalty or the final stage of conditioning? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you believe Jaguar Wright's story about how deep this system runs? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to keep the conversation going. And I'll see you in the next one, fam. Stay woke and keep it real.